today's Hashi, I'm discussing Realtor.com's state-by-state housing report cards, new home sales for March, and the weekly unemployment report for the last 7. Today is Thursday, April 24th, 2025. I am Byron Lazine, and the hot sheet starts now. Live from Naples, Florida, welcome into the hot sheet. Let me know wherever you may be, which market you are tuning in live from today. Let me know if you caught BAMFest yesterday. Thousands did. Curious if you were one of them. BAMX members, it's going to be uploaded. If it's not already, Haley can tell me if it's already uploaded in as a replay. If you were signed up for BAMFest, you also got sent a replay. Just one of the most unbelievable experiences I've been a part of from BAM perspective. It was our best virtual event by far. We're already thinking about ways to up it from here when we do BAM barbecue in July. By the way, let's put the link up, Haley. It's in the calendar on BAMX. So if you got to find it, you can find it there. But you can put the BAM barbecue link so that you can already sign up for that and don't miss it. Just like BAMFest, completely free. Maria says it was amazing. Thank you, Maria. It was so fun to be a part of that. Thanks to Alex Hermosi, obviously, for being a part of it, and Sharon for guiding that conversation. I mean, the encore, obviously my favorite part. Hermosi coming in and doing the encore and connecting that speed to lead. I always say this. A lot of the stuff that is the sexy conversation right now, which we don't have a lot here on the hot sheet. I guess I'm not bringing sexy back enough, but the conversation that we have a lot in this industry, and certainly at BAM and all this kind of stuff, is centered around, the marketing side, the attention side, the social media side, the ad side, being able to have a lead magnet, all very important stuff. And what I wanted Alex to do, in which he came back with that encore and connected the dot, was, the sale component on the back end. Like, having a great lead magnet is important. Got to generate a lot of leads. Once I generate a lot of leads, I got to have the knowledge, the information, the stuff that we do right here. Having the leads, having the knowledge, but then having the ability to close that loop quickly, speed to the lead, speed to the conversation, ability to close the conversation, have the conversation, all those things. That was my favorite part, when he kind of closed the loop on that and having that conversation on an encore. Unbelievable. Obviously, Veronica, I thought, was fantastic. And Jimmy Burgess, and then everybody, BAM staff that was part of it. But thanks to all of you who were a part of it by showing up. All right, it's report card season. I used to hate this time of year growing up. Realtor.com, a little bit earlier than maybe your local high school or university. They're putting out state-by-state housing report cards. And some of these states are really struggling on their grade. This is an affordability report. So it's affordability and home building report, state-by-state report cards. They're out. All right. So think South, think Midwest, if you're thinking affordability. Now, Logan said, hey, I don't really believe in this affordability conversation. We broke down the Logan Mordashami, Ivy Zellman debate. Ivy Zellman says, hey, I don't believe that we're 3 to 5 million homes short to meet demand in this country. I agree with her 100%. I've been saying it. I just don't believe if you put 5 million homes, built 5 million new homes, that anything changes. Okay. Now, if you build them in a certain price range, things change. That's where the demand is. More than half of the homes that are selling are under $500,000. I know agents hear that and it's like, I don't want to work the 250 market. Well, that's where buyers are. That's where demand is. More than half of the homes that sell every month are under 5. I get it. It doesn't feel like that when you look at what's on the market. Like, really? In some markets, that price point doesn't exist. I'm talking about the US. I'm talking about nationwide. South Midwest, that's where you're going to get the most affordability. It's where they build the most. There's going to be a correlation here. Southern Western states are building the most homes, with just 7 states from these 2 regions accounting for over half of the permits. Wow. That to me is eye-opening. If you're not in one of those 7 states that accounts for half of the new housing permits, it's one of the reasons you can tell buyers, like, where are we going to get into an environment where sellers outnumber buyers? If we don't build, how do we get into that environment? Okay. So it's becoming harder and harder to actually become a homeowner, says Realtor.com, with high prices and mortgage rates remaining the unfortunate reality. Like if somebody's waiting for prices to come down, hey, listen, there's only 3 ways homes can become more affordable for you. Can I walk you through those? There's 3 ways homes can become more affordable. Number 1, you get a huge pay raise from your job. Okay. You get a 50% pay raise, or the minimum wage goes to $100 an hour, something like that scenario. Pay raise scenario. You can afford more if you make more. Do you see that coming in your future? Okay. The second scenario is home prices come down. Homeowners decide to just drop home prices by 20% because of market conditions. Home sellers do this. Well, 40% of current homeowners don't have a mortgage. Don't think they have a gun to their head to get their house on the market, or certainly sell it at less than what they want. You're seeing the only sellers that have to play the price pressure game is in primarily these 7 states that build and build and build. And now you're seeing sellers outweigh buyers so much that it pushed pressures on those serious sellers. The third way homes become more affordable is the one we're all rooting for, the one we're all waiting for. It's those interest rates. So you got high prices, you got mortgage rates remaining the unfortunate reality. So if you do increase supply in those markets that becomes a solution, because it can put pressure down. States right now have a clear mandate to address housing affordability, and Realtor.com is assigning grades based on how they are doing and how well they are at addressing the future by building homes, building affordable homes. And not just building homes. 3 to 5 million short of supply doesn't mean anything if it's not in the right price category. So this is how Realtor.com is giving out their report cards. Okay. It's an affordability score, makes up 25%. Median earners' share of income spent on median priced listing. Okay. Ranked low to high, that's 25%. Permits to population ratio. Okay. I know this stat off the top of my head, so I'll give it to you. The little state of Connecticut, 3.65 million population, brings on average 2,000 new units to the market. Now, Connecticut, being the Constitution state, being one of the OG states, the original, there's homes built before the Constitution was written that you're not allowed to tear down because they're historic. I think a lot of them should be torn down. Some of them have done a fabulous job bringing these historic homes to, a new modern way of life and all of this kind of stuff. But there's like homes built. I've sold homes built before 1776. Okay. There are homes that are really, really old. So if you're thinking about a state like that, where you're bringing 2,000 new units on a year, 3.65 million population, well, I can just drive around for a couple of hours and find 2,000 homes that should be thrown away. So you're really just replacing stuff that's kind of needs to be, completely redone or, basically torn down. Okay. Because there's old inventory. So permit to population ratio is a big deal on this score. It's 40%. New construction premium ranked low to high, 10%. Okay. So, 77.5 gets you an A+. Man, I wish that was the way it was when I went to school. According to Realtor.com, you do a 77. Hey, shout out to Damien. I don't think Damien had anything to do with this report. This was probably under the Danielle Hale, economy department here. But I guess shout out to Danielle. She's a Florida State alum. She seems really smart. You can check her out with the pod that we did with her on Knowledge Brokers podcast. Love hanging out with Danielle. But she's saying, hey, A+ is 77.5. I wish she was my teacher. Okay. I wish that was the way it was when I was in school. I still wouldn't have gotten a lot of A+, but I would have been closer to at least, I would have been in the B range here, 62.5 to 67.5. That's the scale there. Okay. So let's just take a look now at the report cards. Let's take a look at the map and see, where states have landed. Okay. You can see the red, the Fs, all happen to be, primarily Northeast, and then you've got a couple states on the West. But what we've been talking about, Northeast, the lowest inventory across the country. You've got F rankings in New York. You've got it in Massachusetts. You've got it in Rhode Island. You've got it in Connecticut. Long Island is just a part of New York that New York would love to forget about at times. Just included in that F. C- for New Hampshire and Vermont. So Northeast struggling with affordability. Why? They struggle with building. They struggle with inventory. California is it's so expensive. So the home building components actually aren't bad. Look at this, 34 out of a scale of 100, but affordability is a 5. It gives them a total score of 19.5. So the home building components, it's not great, but if you look at what I mentioned before, Connecticut home building components, 7.6, they don't build. The affordability components are actually way better than California, 49. Total score, 28.3. Connecticut doesn't build. New York builds a little bit more, 14.4. Massachusetts builds a little bit more, 15.2. Rhode Island, similar to their neighbor to the west, 8.4. Not building really hurts inventory accumulation. So there's your Fs, including Oregon. Okay. Where do you see, affordability? Texas right now. Texas is built up enough inventory, has a price point that is obtainable. It's the most affordable state. Austin's one, talk about like upcoming cities and places that young people want to be. Austin, Texas has done such a great job with having affordable options. They're the leader. Texas and South Carolina. Okay. Those are the two leaders. Iowa is there as well. Those are the three in the A category. Texas home building components is an 88. They build, baby, build. Florida builds like crazy. It's putting pressure on prices. I think Florida's great, has room for improvement because the pressure on prices is real. Not everybody, I know you'll hear everybody wants to live in Florida. Not everybody does. I love it. Not everybody loves it. 92.8 on home building components there. They build. Okay. So even with how expensive Florida has gotten, I mean, look up prices in Miami and Lauderdale and Naples. The prices seem insane. They seem California-esque. Florida's a big state. There's a lot of different Floridas. Okay. Middle Florida is much different than some of these coastline communities. But one thing Florida gets right is they build. And they're building maybe too much in some of these areas that it is going to put pressure and continue. We're seeing it Southwest Florida putting pressure down. Look at South Carolina. Talk about building, a 98.4 on building components. Affordability components, 52. So there's the grades. You can see it's the Northeast is really struggling, and the areas that build are not struggling on this report. Okay. Zoning policy is one of the things that gets in the way. I love what Ivy Zellman said. We covered it the other day. Like, hey, the only thing the federal government, in her opinion, can really do is by saying, hey, change regulation, change zoning, or we're not going to give your state money. Like that's a stick approach. I think the current administration likes using the stick. Doesn't always work for them, but that's a stick approach. But other than that, you can't rely on federal government. Zoning is a local thing. That was her point there. Like if you hold federal funds, maybe they make the local decisions that actually support some of this. Massachusetts, which received an overall F, resulting from low scores in both affordability and home building, serves as an example of how zoning can get in the way of delivering affordable housing. Listen, I'll say this about the Northeast. This is not political. Do not get triggered. But the Northeast wants to cry about a lot of different social issues. But the minute these towns in the Northeast get asked to, like, hey, do you need 4 acres for every single, does every single lot need to be 4 acres? Or can we do some 1 acre lots in some of these rural towns? You'll see people flip, on all of the social, like, no, you've heard it, not in my backyard type of stuff. Yeah, it's tough to get zoning through in the Northeast. It's incredibly difficult. These are local issues. Zoning code in Massachusetts, it's complex. It's hard to navigate. I mean, some of the things in the Northeast, I talk about 1,700 homes and all this kind of stuff. Like you think when they say the zoning codes are complex and they're hard to navigate, you'd think somebody wrote this stuff with a pen that has a feather on top. Okay. Like did the Pilgrims come up with some of the stuff that we're talking about? Like it's kind of janky. It's old. It feels old. They call it New England. I'd call it Old England at this point. The National Zoning Atlas project dedicated. This is really good. I've checked this out. Check this out. And I'll click on it here. This is kind of, trying to help demystify and democratize the country's zoning codes. I won't get into it right now, but play around with it. It's really good. Really good to kind of bounce around that. But they have currently hidden within roughly 30,000 U.S. zoning codes. That in Massachusetts, there are 16 zoning districts per jurisdiction and 131 pages of zoning code per jurisdiction, including 1,200 pages in Boston alone. Their zoning codes are just, they're just complicated, to put it simply. All right. So the builders that do manage to operate in like a place like Mass, we're just using Mass as an example, because Realtor.com did. Listen, by the way, Massachusetts, great place. Love Massachusetts. You should join me on May 15th in Massachusetts. Me, Lisa Chinati, and Tom Toole are doing a BAM workshop. So if you want to learn how to scale your business, how to manage it, this is in person. This is intimate. It's in Massachusetts. Maybe on lunch break, we can go fight some of the onerous zoning codes and requirements together. We're not going to do that, by the way. We're just going to work on our business and let Mass be Mass. But May 15th, myself, Tom Toole, Lisa Chinati, it's bamworkshop.live. If you're interested, Haley will put a link. If you missed yesterday's in-person event virtual event, or you loved it, this one's in person. It's super intimate. We're going to be able to get a lot done to help you manage your business, scale it, how to run it. But we're not picking on Massachusetts here. We're using it as an example because Realtor.com does. So the builders that do manage to operate there, they've got extra costs that are imposed. Why is Massachusetts average homes at this point up over, or the median list price rather in Massachusetts? Get this, the median list price in Massachusetts, it's $781,000. Like why? Well, one of the reasons it's so hard to build. So any inventory that does come on, it's got to come on at a ridiculous price. Out of these F states, Oregon, Connecticut, California, Hawaii, New York, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, they all have something in common. Very high cost of home, really hard to build. You think it's hard to build in Hawaii? Yeah. $822,000. That's the highest median list price. I'd say it's pretty hard to build in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. It shouldn't be that hard to build in some of these Northeast, Connecticut, New York, Massachusetts, Rhode Island. It should be easier than it is. But a place like Connecticut, it's got a little bit of a better F than New York and Massachusetts and Rhode Island because of the median price point, looking like a deal compared to New York and Massachusetts. If we look at some of those states that have shined, look at South Carolina, $350,000 median list price. Iowa's under $300,000. I mean, some people are thinking, really? Like you can get a house median listing price, Iowa, for $294,000. Really? That's incredible. Look at Texas, $370,000. As far as big as Texas is, everything's bigger in Texas, I hear, but big as in population, you can still get a median list price at 370,000 below the national average. This is incredible. Indiana, 293, North Carolina, 408. North Carolina, South Dakota, 380, Nebraska, 350, Arkansas, 296, Georgia. If I'm in one of the states here that's even in the top half on grades, or if I get a B- or better, certainly top 13. I'm certainly using this in my marketing. I'm probably making a lead magnet out of this. Okay. Inside of BAMX, we've cut it up for you so that you can get going on it very easily. With everything that we do here on the hot sheet, you get access to it inside of it. By the way, welcome to all of our new BAMX members after yesterday. For those of you that are new, there's a new member onboarding happening in just 28 hours. What does that mean? That's going to be Friday at 1:00 for new members that just joined BAMX. Welcome. You're going to get your new onboarding at 1:00 on Friday. I'm doing a live role play before hot sheet Tuesday at 9. And then we've got some other stuff happening, obviously, continuing on throughout the calendar there. But if you go into your classroom tab inside of BAMX, just go to the hot sheet. Every day we post this stuff. If you want to create some lead magnets for yourself, we've just posted it here, right here inside of the hot sheet classroom. You can start using that. Obviously, all the links, the interactive maps, all that kind of stuff is down there for you to use. I mean, talk about creating lead magnets. I get it. I'm big with Hermosi, with all that stuff, but I love the back end, like actually making sure the sale gets connected, the speed to lead, all of that kind of stuff that he talked about yesterday. But we don't get enough opportunities if we're not putting out interesting and relevant information. What else did we talk about yesterday? Like those negative leading hooks. So if you're in the bottom 10, it works the same way. Like, hey, why we just got an F in housing affordability, right? Like this state just got an F or a D or whatever. Here are the reasons why. Like people in your state are going to like, why the heck are we ranking so low? That negative hook. And then, you can put together your top 5 lists of what the opportunities are to kind of spin that narrative into a positive. All right. Let's take a look at new home sales, see if the direction here is positive or negative. So we've got March data. Speaking of building, let's take a look, right? What's going on here in March? Monthly new residential sales. This is according to the U.S. Census Bureau. We look at this information every single month here on the hot sheet. Where are we sitting nationally? Monthly new residential sales come in at 724,000. This is the seasonally adjusted number on the new houses sold. So sales 724,000 seasonally adjusted. So annual. Okay. New houses for sale 503,000. That one is seasonally adjusted. Median sale price for new 403,000. Look at everything that was in that top 10. Most of it was under that price point. Okay. New residential houses sale. This number is moving up. How much is it moving up? Okay. Sales of new single family houses in March, that 724 seasonally adjusted, it's 7.4% above February. So getting better here in the spring market. Sales improving for builders. We'll see what that does to their sentiment. And it's also 6% above last year. So year over year. So sales closings for these builders has improved both year over year and month over month. Good sign. Maybe it'll get the confidence and the sentiment feeling better. For sale inventory and months of supply. This is the one that I really pay a lot of attention to, and it's getting better. Okay. So good news for them. We're down from 9 months of supply. And I'm sorry. We're down from 9 months, yes, to 8.3 months at the current sales rate. Okay. So if no new construction homes came on the market, it would take 8.3 months at the current sales rate to work through all of the inventory. Now this isn't good. It's not world is falling apart, but it's not good. It's not great. Certainly not great for builders. Builders want to be in control. They want to be on the other side of the 6. They want to be on the downside. They want to be 4 or 5 months. They prefer to be 2-3 months of supply. It means they have full control of the market. This is a buyer's market. When it comes to new construction, it is a buyer's market. There are more homes for sale. remember, 7 states drive all the permits. There are just more homes for sale than there are buyers in those markets. And that's why you've got 8.3 months at the current rate. This is better than where they were before. February was at 8.9. So improving, some of these sales have helped improve. The month supply is 6.7% below last month's. Okay. When we go a year ago, it was 8.2. So kind of moving sideways year over year. Estimate for new houses for sale at the end of March, 503,000. This is just slightly above February, and it's 7.9% above where we were March. So this is active inventory for new homes. So that's moving up. And then the sale price at 403,000. It's actually below 411,000 from February, and 7.5% below year over year, 436. Look at this. When you are in a buyer's market, which we're not on existing homes, right? We're in the 3.5 to 4 month range, national 3.5 months on existing homes. You see prices nationally still going up. I know Zillow says, hey, they're predicting they're going to move down, but they're still going up at the current readings nationally. When you have 8.3, when you have over 6 months of supply, when you have a buyer's market, which we have in new construction, price moves down. This is one way to get affordability. You get more homes on the market than there are buyers. Okay. And these prices are moving down. This doesn't even include concessions. We know the builders like to play the comp game. So 436,000 on the median sales price, sold price just a year ago, now at 403,000 for builders. So inventory works to put downward pressure on prices. Every builder is a serious seller. Okay. A little bit different on existing home sales. Not everybody that puts their house on the market is serious, has to sell it. 4 out of 10 don't have a mortgage, right? Don't have to sell it, maybe test the market, maybe aspirational pricing, whatever the case may be. Every builder's, they're a serious seller. They've got to sell it. All right, let's look at unemployment as we continue to monitor the economic conditions that are impacting how many would-be buyers there are. Are we going to get transactions back to a more normal rate? Economy has a lot to do with it. One of the big things that the Fed's going to watch is employment. They have a dual mandate. It's to maximize employment and to bring inflation down. You won't see them really cutting rates unless you see this number kind of break, and it hasn't done that yet. We're continuing to move sideways. Unemployment claims come in at 222,000. It's an increase of 6,000 from the previous week's revised level. We've been bouncing around here. You can see the chart for yourself in front of you. It just moves sideways. Still, punchline is very low unemployment. So, some of these economic concerns, whether they be just, the R word or, the buzzword now is tariffs, any of this kind of stuff, hasn't really impacted employment yet. Doge, whatever you want to call it. We haven't seen an impact on actual, unemployment. It's been very, very steady, which means unemployment's near all-time lows when you consider, population and all of these types of things. Dow's up a little bit today to start the day. Not much, but a little bit for the third day in a row. 10-year moving in the right direction so far to start the day. 4.332. Love to stay. Just get us through the week in this range. I think we'll take that with some of the volatility we saw the last couple of weeks on 10-year. Still relatively at an elevated level for the last 30 days. We've been higher over the last 90, but we're at a high point here for the last 60 days. It's impacting the 30-year fixed, of course. If we take a look at yesterday's read, we were slightly down 6.94. So we're kind of in that Walmart pricing of 7% on the 30-year fixed. That's where we're at. CME Group, if you're interested, is saying no way 13 days from today we're going to see a Fed cut. 93% chance the Fed does nothing. Obviously getting a lot of pressure from the White House to do something. White House saying don't wait too long. We'll obviously not know what they do for another 13 days. If you're a new member to BAMX, congratulations. Love having you in. We're doing an onboarding tomorrow. I'm doing a live role play on Tuesday before we get into the hot sheet. So Only way to get access to that is by becoming a member. You don't have Facebook spam, any of that kind of stuff. You get access to all of this stuff. The live role play with me and Tom Toole's going to be joining me, and Lisa Chinati is going to be joining me for this one on Tuesday before we do the hot sheet. Next, you can just add this to your calendar, obviously right here. That's happening Tuesday at 9 o'clock. But for new members, you do have a new member onboarding happening tomorrow at 1 o'clock. So just want to make sure you're aware of that. Eric made an executive decision and he bumped out for just 24 hours the price increase that was going to happen last night at midnight. So if you're not a BAMX member, get grandfathered in, because the price goes from $590 a year to $970 here today. So make sure you do it now. School.com/BAMX so you can get access to that. Everybody that signed up yesterday and OG BAMX members are part of that giveaway that I'm going to do on Tuesday. If you loved yesterday's event, join and you want to do it in person, you want to do small, intimate, and really build a management system for your business, join myself, Tom Toole, Lisa Chinati, my dear friends and co-operators behind the Knowledge Brokers podcast on BAM Workshop. That's going to be May 15th in Massachusetts. Links are in bamworkshop.live. Interested in that. I'll be doing a Knowledge Brokers podcast with both Tom and Lisa tomorrow. We usually put those up tomorrow, separate channel, Knowledge Brokers podcast. On this channel, there will be a walkthrough, obviously, later today. Best way to support what we do, for a free and simple way to support what we do, is just subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss that great content. All right. Hope everybody has a great Thursday. We'll see you either on the walkthrough on this channel later with Eric or Knowledge Brokers tomorrow. And I'll see you, of course, inside the BAMX community. Until then, of course, toodaloo.